Welcome to this Actus Insight, where we're going to explore how to avoid common problems that people run into when setting SMART objectives. Here is a reminder of what SMART stands for. We went through this in detail in our previous insight, What are SMART objectives? So we're looking for our objectives to be clear and specific, measurable, achievable and agreed, business relevant and of course time-bound. The other really important point to note is that we're talking about objectives or goals here. So a goal needs to be something that we can demonstrably achieve, an output. This will become clearer as we go through our examples. So here we have 4 examples of goals for us to evaluate. Let's read through them to consider whether we think they are SMART. Then we'll cover each one in turn. I will improve my timekeeping this year. I can do this by myself. I will reduce our stock levels by 20% over the next 6 months. I can achieve this because the analysis done last month shows there is this possibility. I will increase my sales by £1,000 a month before July 2026. I need to increase my sales calls by about 10% to do this, and I can cope with it. Continue to assist call centre staff to understand customer issues. So let's take a look. To improve my timekeeping this year, I can do this without help. So if we were being very kind, which one part of SMART does this demonstrate? Yes, achievable at a push, because I think I can do this without help. But really, this is a long way from a SMART goal. Reduce stock levels by 20% over the next 6 months. The analysis shows this is possible. Is this SMART? It's surprising how often people think it's SMART just because there is a percentage. But in reality, this only demonstrates the measure and achievable aspect of SMART. It isn't specific about what type of stock, and this could be counterproductive. For example, if we reduce the wrong type of stock, it could cause supply issues. Hence, it could be positive or negative to business strategy. Also, having a timeline of over 6 months, that isn't a clear deadline. It could be seen as ambiguous. Perhaps this might be a better example of a SMART objective in this case. So we're saying that we want to maintain stock levels of a specific product at a specific level. So we're saying 100 items plus or minus 5 for 50 out of 52 weeks of the year. Notice how putting in 100 plus or minus 5 and 50 out of 52 weeks of the year makes the goal more achievable than having to achieve 100% for 52 weeks of the year. It allows for a little slippage, probably makes it more realistic, and also allows underperformance. And that's more motivational. So now we're getting more familiar with this. I'm sure that we can see that increasing my sales by £2,000 per month really isn't SMART, even though there are numbers and percentages here. Ask yourself, if you were a new sales manager who took over this person in July 2026, would you know clearly whether the goal had been achieved? Almost certainly not, because it doesn't define a clear target or output. However, if you had to evaluate whether they had achieved a target of £250,000 by the 31st of July 2026, you absolutely would be able to see evidence of this, as it's a clear goal. Remember, the goal is the what. All too often we see the how set as an objective, and these are processes, not outputs. Here is another example of a process goal masquerading as an output. This would be very difficult to measure success against because we don't have ownership. The call centre staff do. We may not have the skills and we don't know what the issues are. Maybe this is a supporting action or a weakly defined how for a bigger goal. So if we're thinking about what that bigger goal might be, we might want to chunk up, and we can do that by thinking about why do we have an action like this? So following on from this could be an example. It's referring to customer issues. So if we were saying to increase our first call customer issue resolution from 65% to 75% by the 31st of March 2026, that's going to be much clearer and objective. Although you could probably make it smarter by understanding which issues in particular that you're working on. This final example shows how a high-level company outcome, or a Net Promoter Score, might be chunked down to goals for specific individuals. Each one of those goals needs to be relevant to their role so that it's achievable for them. Again, these examples could be sparser, but you can get the idea. So hopefully you can see it's actually quite a skill to write a truly smart objective, and it's all too common to write process goals instead. Be careful not to start objectives with terms like monitor, assist, continue, or improve, because these are not defining outputs, they're more verbs. So in summary, when writing smart objectives, avoid process goals and agree firm outcomes. Make sure the objective is at the right level for the person or role to be able to achieve it. If not, chunk it up or down. Use measures that are achievable so people can overachieve them. And finally, make sure your goal is explicit and specific so that it's clearly understood and it's agreed with the individual in question. I hope you found this Actus insight valuable. Please like, subscribe or follow to be notified of new quality content, or visit our website actus.co.uk.